Don don de don don de don don de don 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 de don don de don don de don. Calling on sisters and brothers of love, calling on nations and angels above. Calling on sisters and brothers of love, calling on nations and angels above. Oh, 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 hey, hey, yeah. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, 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 hey, hey, yeah. Oh, oh, oh. Let us rise, 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 like a phoenix from the fire, and we will fly, 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 higher and higher and higher, and we will stand, 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 in solidarity for this sacred land, and we will lead, 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 with compassion for all humanity. Oh, 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 hey, hey, yeah. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, 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 hey, hey, yeah. Oh, oh, oh. And we will pray, 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 for love to show the blessed way. And we will hear, 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 the truth that leads us out of fear. And we will really choose to see those we perceive to be our enemy. And we will be set free with the light that shines in you and me. Oh, 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 hey, hey, yeah. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, 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 hey, hey, yeah. Oh, oh, oh. And we will choose to heal the pain we feel, and we will rise above, 'cause we are warriors of love. Oh, 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 hey, hey, yeah. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, 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 hey, hey, yeah. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, 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 hey, hey, yeah. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, 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 hey, hey, yeah. Oh, oh, oh.
Greetings. This is Reverend Deborah Johnson, and welcome to our Sunday gathering for Inner Light Ministries. How wonderful it is to be celebrating this day with you, regardless of where it is that you are in the planet, regardless of what time it is that you may be seeing this. We are all together in spirit, because in spirit there is no time, no space, no distance. So wherever you are right now is the right place. Whenever you're listening to this, it's the right time. Greetings, greetings, greetings. This is what is referred to as Palm Sunday in Christian traditions. And we are in the beginning of the Passover season. Those two are intimately connected, which I will speak about in a moment. Next Sunday is Easter. I am pleased to announce that we will begin the reopening process. So physically, you can come to service this coming Sunday at Easter. Yes, 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 yes. Long time coming. We still will be COVID safe. Okay. So bring your mask. We'll socially distance. We will do our after service congregating outside. Right now, the weather is beautiful. If you're anywhere around in the Santa Cruz area, we invite you to join us for that at 5630 Soquel Drive in Soquel area of Santa Cruz County. We also will be having this Friday evening at 6 p.m. of Pacific time. We're going to have a Good Friday reflections service. Jamie Lula will be doing the music. We will be broadcasting that live on our social media platforms. Once again, we welcome you to come and to join us. You know, at Inner Light, we have a vision, and we have a vision of a world. We have a vision of a world where we can actually be together in this thing called the beloved community, where there's social justice, there's compassion for all, and we have an environment that is sustainable because we are doing our responsibility as good stewards of the earth. We know that it's possible, and we come here to do the deep inner work that's necessary to do it, as well as to usher in the transformation in the outer world that has to happen. We marry the micro and the macro together. A part of that process of moving forward is always learning how to recalibrate our minds, recalibrate our energy fields so that we are actually in alignment with the directions in which we want to go. Too often we are at cross purposes with each other. We're thinking one thing and feeling something else, and we can do and say still other things that are even different from all of that. And a very, very nice tool to use is this thing called affirmations. Affirmations are actually activations. They aren't just words, they aren't just syllables, they're frequencies, they are vibrations that realign you, And every week we always offer some, and I invite you to join us in this week's affirmative activations, which you will see here now on your screen. I invite you also to say it along with me. Our theme this month is abundance, and our topic for today is dwelling in enoughness. The universe is a storehouse of infinite potentiality. I focus more on the truth of possibility than so-called facts. Anchored in prosperity consciousness, I am never swayed by appearances. I live in plenitude. My steps are divinely ordered. I am steady and sure-footed. With third eye open, I discern beyond what I see. I pierce through the illusions and see perfect patterns of abundance. In the radiance of prosperity, lack and limitation simply dissipate. I rise above fear. Doubt has no hold on me. I live in trust and dwell in enoughness. Nothing stands in the way of my highest good. I invite you to just breathe that in with me. Dwelling in enoughness. You'll hear me say all the time that the only thing that ever needs to be healed is just a sense of separation, whatever that is. Separation from our good, from our wealth, our health, our creativity, possibilities, opportunities, separation from each other, separation from the divine, separation from our own selves. But it's just an illusion. We can never be separate because all there is a unitary wholeness. It cannot separate itself. Life cannot divvy and divide itself up. It's just impossible. And what happens when we're stuck in that paradigm, when we're stuck in that notion that we're somehow separate, it comes with the idea of that there's not enough. There's not enough. I won't have enough. I'm not enough. Enough is not a quantity. Enough is not a specific dollar amount. Enough is not a certain amount of anything. Material possessions, love, prowess, power. Enough is this inner feeling of completeness. Just let that sink in for a moment. Enoughness is a sense of completeness, that there's nothing missing. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't expand to more. There's always our greater yet to be. If I'm a musician or I'm a songwriter, there's always another song that can be written. There's always more love that can come from my heart. But if I'm dwelling in enoughness, I know that wherever I am is sufficient. I won't need another song to make me feel okay with myself. I won't need yet one more relationship to let me believe that I'm lovable, because I'm dwelling in enoughness. When you know that you're enough, everything else just becomes an expansion of the completeness that you are. I'm getting the image now of a family and how families can grow. They can grow through marriage, they can grow through children, they can grow in all kinds of ways. At every stage, it's complete. You don't need one more child to be a family. You don't need one more marriage to be a family. You're already one. And within that, there's always room for expansion and growth, but you don't need the expansion and growth to be what you are. Just let that sink in for a moment. You are enough. Right where you are. You're enough. It's not about the checkbook. It's not about the jobs. It's not about the material possessions. It's not about what somebody's giving you or not giving you or keeping you from. You, by your own little self, you are enough. Let that sink in. You're a verb. You're a verb. You're an energetic vibration in the world, and life is happening through you. Life is happening as you, not to you. This is High Holy season in both the Judeo and Christian traditions. I grew up in a very Christian household. I grew up fundamentalist, evangelical, charismatic, Pentecostal in the Church of God in Christ. Woo, Easter time, that was a big deal. I mean, like a really, really big deal. And on Palm Sunday, the week before Easter, if you go to these very traditional fundamentalist churches, they would always enact part of that Palm Sunday. There would be palms, either big palms or kids had like little bitty palms. And the palms were symbolic and they represented this particular event. In the story of Jesus, there's the story of him coming to Jerusalem for his last days to celebrate the Passover, to celebrate the high holy days. That's why he's coming into town. It was sort of like the way that you have Islamic people who will make a pilgrimage to Mecca. Well, during these high holy days, people were coming from all over the place. The area was occupied by the Romans, and the Romans knew if there was going to be an uprising, it would happen at that particular point in time. So what was very traditional was for the Romans to basically do shock and awe, like a big show of force. And they would ride into town with their armor and their huge chariots and basically intimidate everybody into saying, don't even think of it. The chariots would come in the west gate. And there had been this prophecy about, quote unquote, the Messiah and things that he was going to do. And in the last days, Jesus enacted that to a T. At the very moment when the Romans were coming in with their heavy armor in the west gate, Jesus comes in on a little donkey that he has to borrow. And he comes riding in the east gate. Now, symbolically speaking, the east always represents the inner world, and the west, the more intellectual outer world. Word got out that he was coming because he had been hanging out just a few days before that with his infamous last miracle, the rising of Lazarus in Bethany, which was just a couple of miles out from Jerusalem. So they knew he had sent word that he was coming. So people were waiting for him, and they paved the way with these palms. It was the equivalent in a dry country of laying out the red carpet. So they were laying out the red carpet for him. So can you imagine now, you've got the Romans that are coming in to intimidate, and so many of the people aren't even there to intimidate. And instead of them being there, checking out the might of the oppressors coming in town, they're on the other side of town. They're on the other side of town, throwing down these palms before this man who doesn't have any weapons. He's coming in as the Prince of Peace. That moment is a demonstration of dwelling in enoughness. Just let that sink in for a moment. Jesus represents what it means to be a Christ in the world. A Christ is an enlightened one. A Christ is one who knows their relationship with the divine, understands that intimate connection. I'm a metaphysical Bible instructor, and everything within the stories is a state of consciousness. And what's more, it's all happening in you. So just think about that for a moment. If this whole story is playing out in you, there's that part of us that's conforming to the chariots and and we're gonna make everything conform and all the rest of that. And yet there's something within you that says, I am more than this. There's something within you that's genuine. There's something within you that is authentic. There's something within you that says, I am not afraid. And I will not be intimidated because I know who I am. I will not be suppressed. I will not be repressed. I will not be oppressed because I am enough. I'm enough. And he's rolling in, and he knows what's going to happen. He knows exactly what's going to happen. He knows these are his last days. And one of the most infamous things that he does on this day that he's rolling in, he's like, I'm done with this. I've had enough. And he engages in an act of civil disobedience. Listen to what I'm saying. Because I know a lot of people who are quote unquote spiritual think that politics or taking direct action is somehow or another not being spiritual enough. Even Jesus got to the point when he said, this stuff is too out of alignment. A statement has to be made here. So he rides straight up to the temple steps. Just imagine this for a moment. This would be like, oh, I don't know. This would be like rolling up to the Vatican, the Supreme Court. This is all of it, like at one time, and or like burning the flag on the 4th of July, like on the steps of the Capitol or something like that. I mean, it was like that kind of heresy. And what was happening is that during the High Holy Days, there was a lot of sacrifice that was going on. They still believed in blood sacrifice. So you had all of these people who were busy merchants, and they were selling doves and goats and calves and all these different things. But they were ripping off the people. They were ripping them off. They were the money changers. And at this particular time, they were making it so complicated that they would only maybe a third of all Jewish males would even qualify to even go inside the temple. It had become that segregated and that much about money and power and position and all of these other things, all of this stuff, trying to convince the people that they weren't enough, that there were all these other things that they had to do to try to appease God, to try to get in good favor, to earn their way, to even be able to go into worship. And he said, no, I'm not having this. And he goes in, and the story goes, he just turns over. He just disrupts all of that merchant, all of that stuff that's going on. Of course, he gets arrested. And stay tuned for the next part on Good Friday. On Friday, I'll tell you what happens next to him then. But I want you to get a feel for this. Dwelling in enoughness. We are enough. We're enough individually, and we are enough as a society, and we have to stand up for our enoughness. We have to stand up for it within our own selves. We have to stand up for it with each other so that we don't allow a bunch of systems, repression, oppression, whether it's about voting, whether it's about economic access, whether it's about healthcare, whatever that is, we dwell in enoughness. It is an abundant universe by our birthright. Just because you're alive. Just because you're alive, you deserve. Just because you are alive, you deserve food and clothing and housing, access to the divine, to worship in whatever it is that your your propensity is towards. Health is your birthright. Learning is your birthright. Creative expression, it is your birthright. Just because you're here. Because you're here. And anything that we erect in our societies that is designed to limit those things or to restrict those things or to make it such that some people can have them and other people can't is wrong. And it is outside of spiritual integrity. It is. So wherever you are, whatever that is that you can do, and part of this beautiful spring energy of renewal and restoration, anything that you can do that helps you cultivate that sense of enough that's within yourself, anything that you can do that can help cultivate it in somebody else, do it. Do it. It could even be something as simple as a phone call. Just a phone call. How you doing? I love you. It could be as simple as that. To be seen. To be seen. To be heard. To be celebrated. Each and every one of us is a Christ. Come on into the holy simple, to the holy city, to the temple within. You don't need a lot of fanfare. You don't need a lot of drama. Just right on in. Don't worry about all the commotion and the chaos going on the other side of town. Don't let it prevent you from you coming in town and you dwelling in your enoughness. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. There are people who are on a Zoom watch party. They have been watching this entire time, and I invite you to come over and to join with us as we're going to continue with this. We have musical inspiration, a beautiful, beautiful couple, a duo that goes by the name of In Love. They will be providing music for us. There will be opportunities as you join us in this Zoom group to speak to each other. We've created a virtual sanctuary, and you have a chance to break off into small groups and have a chance to chat with each other. You can also learn about the numerous things that are going on. Very, very busy time. We are reopening once again this coming Sunday on Easter Sunday. Of course, we will continue with our virtual offerings as well. Number of things that are going on this spring in terms of educational opportunities and chance to learn and to grow. Be sure to check us out on social media. You also have an opportunity now to make a contribution, to pay it forward, to show your love, to show your support, to keep this ministry going and, on the air. And as we take this consciousness and we multiply it and we bless it, you can do PayPal. You can go to paypal.me/Innerlight Ministries. There are donate buttons wherever it is that wherever you are right now. You can also do a text to give. We are so grateful for all of the contributions. And we always take an opportunity to pay it forward as well. So I invite you, continue on with us, and I will see you in the virtual gathering in just a moment. Take care. Peace and blessings to you. Happy holidays.